Hi friends, my name is Al or Lilstarnerd. Welcome to today's episode of Sketchbook. Obviously, recently I did a sketchbook tour. Super fun, super exciting. And of course, after the sketchbook tour comes the new sketchbook. However, today's new sketchbook is a little different. I tried really hard to find the same sketchbook that I always use, but with production being slow right now, it was really hard to find. The only one I could find was about $30, and it was gonna take 2 weeks to get to me, which I did not have 2 weeks to wait. I was desperately looking online at every store that could possibly carry sketchbooks. No one had it, and if they did, it was gonna take even longer than 2 weeks. And I realized I was going to have to try a new sketchbook. And my heart broke a little bit. I was really sad. I love my Strathmore Mixed Media. I did not want to part with it, and so I was sad. Especially because I was not given enough time to adjust, to change, to prepare, to mentally prepare. So I'm less excited than I normally would be to start a new sketchbook. Am I being dramatic? Yes, it's the same sketchbook. I got, it's still Strathmore Mixed Media, it's still a Series 500, it's still mixed media paper, everything is the same. It is just slightly larger and it's hardcover instead of a soft cover. For reference, this is my previous sketchbook. I think it's like 3/4 of an inch bigger here and then 1 1/4 inches bigger there. It's 8.5 by 11. It's large. It's like the paper's big. Like the thought of covering, it's large. That in paint or marker, oh my God, I feel like my markers are just gonna be dry by the end. And then there's the fact that it's hardcover, which isn't the worst, but I very rarely do that. I very rarely use hardcover. And I don't know, I'm afraid. I feel like I'm gonna end up liking it a lot. I think I'm already kind of getting to the point where maybe it'll be okay. And to start off this scary new sketchbook, I'm doing a self-portrait. And it's a little bit fall themed, so that's exciting. Let's go, let's get into it. So, like I said, self-portrait. I had no idea what to do for this first page, so I actually had you guys give some recommendations, and there were quite a few suggestions of some sort of self-portrait, so I went with a somewhat kind of fall/witchy themed self-portrait. And by that I mean I'm holding a wand. Yeah, I guess you could say I'm kind of a super creative and talented character designer. No biggie. Added a wand, it's whatever. I also had intended to do this in gouache, but if you saw my recent video, I attempted to revive my jelly gouache. It didn't go super well. They definitely still work, you know, they're paint, but I didn't want to risk them not working properly for this page. But I honestly think that's for the better because I really haven't been using gouache like on the regular as of late. I want to change that, but I didn't think that gouache would be super representative of me and my work currently, which like isn't a requirement of the first page. If you've seen any of my other first page videos, I tend to have like a different intention every time. And this time I wasn't going for, you know, what I want my sketchbook to be like in the future. If any of that made sense. Anyways, it worked out well that I didn't use the gouache because I was really just using that because I thought it would easily and more quickly cover those giant pages. So to replace the gouache, I ended up using a lot of different media, which is way more representative of what I've been doing lately, just picking random stuff and like slapping it all together. So I used a watercolor base, I kneaded that up, made it a little crisper with a few areas with gouache, then colored pencil, then ink, very hodgepodge, very fun. So anyways, new sketchbook. I know I'm being a bit dramatic about the whole thing, but honestly, I really was not mentally prepared to try a new sketchbook. I had no time to prepare. It was so like I placed my order for my old one, realized it would take 2 weeks, and like I had to find, like, I needed a sketchbook within the next few days, so I just had to find something that worked. So I'm really glad I was able to find the same kind, you know, the same amount of pages, same paper, so that was really lucky. But man, I just didn't want to get much bigger than what I already had, but hopefully it will work well for me. When I used a much smaller sketchbook, I found that really detrimental to my creativity and my sketchbook keeping practice. So hopefully the same thing doesn't happen with a larger sketchbook. I'm honestly worried about my ability to like fill the pages in a way that feels satisfactory for me, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be like a tiny push out of my comfort zone and like push me just that little bit further. Maybe I'll end up loving it. I just really truly hope it's not bad for me. Oh, we'll see. Then of course it is a hardback, which I don't know that I care about that. I do love that the other one is soft cover, but I don't inherently have anything against hardback. Again, hopefully I do enjoy it. I'm sure that it's not gonna be a negative for me, but you never know. Let's talk about the significance of this specific first page. Because, you know, for the past few sketchbooks now, the first page has been meaningful in some sort of way. So first of all, it's somewhat spooky or autumnal, which I think is really fun to put into the piece. It kind of gives it, you know, a real-time, real-world tie. And then, like I said, with the mixed media, it is very representative of what I'm doing with my art right now and what I hope to continue doing. Because this is a new kind of sketchbook, there are possibilities here for me to experience something entirely new, opportunities to do things in new ways. And I want to be open to that and be able to experiment and use all sorts of mediums and mix them up and go crazy in this sketchbook, just like I kind of did with this piece. And of course, it is a self-portrait, and I love doing self-portraits. I think I've talked about this a few times, but guess what? It is my channel and I do what I want, so I'm going to talk about it again. I love doing self-portraits. If you've never done one before, I so highly encourage you to try it. Obviously, not everyone is going to experience things exactly the way I do. So just because I had a good time with self-portraits doesn't mean that you will, but I hope hearing about my positive experience will encourage you to have an open mind about them. I was a very insecure person. I did not like the way I looked for a very long time. Like, I avoided mirrors, like I did not look in mirrors. I didn't let people take pictures of me, the whole 9 yards, you know, everything. I was very insecure. It's actually like why I don't take selfies now. Like, I just habitually do not take selfies because for years I couldn't stand taking them, and I never got into the habit of doing it. So I did not like my face for a very long time, but despite that, one thing I always really liked doing was drawing myself in all sorts of different ways, styles, you know, doing stylized stuff, realistic, whatever. Because I realized, like, as an artist, when I'm drawing something or someone, I'm just trying to recreate them beautifully. I'm not judging them, I'm not critiquing them, I don't think they're ugly or notice misplaced hair or moles or pimples or wrinkles or anything that they might be insecure about. When I draw someone or someone commissions me, like, I see them. Like, I'm not questioning if they always look like that or why are they making that expression. I just accept that that is what they look like. And then the process of drawing them, like, my personal artistic eye is seeing everything through the lens of beauty. Not in like a societal standard type of way, but in the sense that I am recreating this in the way that I find beautiful, with the colors I like, with their expression shining through, highlighting the parts of them that naturally call to me. Throughout the process of staring at this person, zooming in really close on their face, analyzing their features and their body and their stance, throughout that entire time, the subject just becomes more and more beautiful to me as I transfer them to paper. And the same thing is true when I'm the subject. I don't remember when I realized this for the first time, but I do remember it being kind of shocking and very, like, therapeutic to realize that I wasn't trying to edit myself down or make myself look different. I wasn't trying to pick myself apart. I was just trying to represent myself accurately. I highlighted the parts about myself that I liked, and as I drew, I found more and more of me that I found beautiful. Every time I draw myself, I feel like I find something new about me and my face that I love. And that's the thing, like, I love drawing or painting myself. I think I make a great subject, to be honest. Because every time I do it, like I said, I find something new that I love. But not just like love about myself, but things that I love to draw, that artistically speaking are so fun to do. It puts my flaws into a whole new perspective, like the shape of my nose and nostrils I used to hate. I used to hate my nose. But my nose is actually so fun to draw, and it makes a really nice shape and shadow and everything that I very rarely see it in a bad light anymore. Another thing I love to draw is like this, I don't know what to call it, the start of my cheek under my eye. There's this like streak there that is always like very red or peachy, and sometimes it's very pronounced. And it's always, it like looks like a brush stroke to me, and I love it. I love to see it in the mirror. I love to exaggerate it on paper. I also love to capture the shape of my curls, the shape of my lips. It's helped me appreciate my smile lines, all because I had fun drawing those parts of me. Or I've realized that they add so much depth to a portrait that compositionally they're necessary. Like the random planes of my face that make strange shadows. Those are actually really important for adding interest to my face, so it's not some blank stretch of skin that's really hard to draw. I think throughout my many times doing self-portraits, I've really learned to see myself as art. And it's way easier to see the beauty in a piece of art than your own reflection sometimes. And when you get used to seeing yourself as a subject and you look at that piece you spent so long on, you eventually learn to translate that directly to yourself too. And drawing or painting yourself can be so reflective of the love that you give yourself. Like for this drawing today, I spent so long on the sketch because I wanted it to be right. And I had so much fun and poured so much love and hope and joy into the process, into the subject. And the subject is me. So that time painting, it feels like hours of pouring time and care and love into yourself. In a weird way, it also feels like you really get to know yourself. Maybe it's because you have to stare a lot of insecurities in the face for hours as you get the drawing right. Or maybe it's because you spend hours slowly getting over those insecurities. I don't know, but in some way, for some reason, it feels like you're literally getting to know yourself better, like in a very deep, subconscious kind of way. So if you haven't tried self-portraits, I think literally anyone can benefit from them. Connecting with yourself on a deeper level, understanding yourself better as an artist, understanding what you look like if you've also avoided your reflection for most of your life, coming to terms with your own face, learning to love the way you look and not hate yourself. It can be really scary if you are really insecure or don't like the way you look. The idea of having to stare at your own face for hours and draw it can be really daunting. It seems like the opposite of what you would want to do. And honestly, it might be hard for a bit for the first few times. But I really think that in the long run, it is so helpful and a great way to work with yourself in healing, if that makes sense. I definitely recommend trying it out, even just little doodles of yourself. Pick your favorite medium, your favorite style, stick to your comfort zone, find your favorite picture of yourself, ideally without a filter or anything that changes your appearance in a way that is unrealistic, and draw yourself. I think some of my first self-portraits were these really simple brush pen doodles, but I loved the way the brush pen looked specifically, and that made me like the way the drawings looked, which made me like the way I looked, so I drew more of them. You don't need to start with some giant oil painting of yourself. It can be super simple and super low-key, rooted in something you already love or feel comfortable with, and just see where it takes you. Let me know if you guys do a lot of self-portraits, if you enjoy them, why you enjoy them. I'd also love to hear about the flip side. If you have had a negative experience with self-portraits, I'd love to know about that too. And if you've never done a self-portrait, go try a quick one right now and come back and report your findings. I would love to hear about everyone else's experience with this subject, if it's been similar, if you've found similar joy in it as I have. I think it's really interesting. Let me know. That's about all I have to say about this first page. I'm very excited but very nervous to be in this new sketchbook. I really hope it goes well. I'm very open to loving the sketchbook. I am okay with it replacing the old kind if I love it a lot. I'm just very nervous that the change in size, mainly, will really mess me up since things like that have happened in the past. And I'm all for trying new things and experimenting with art, but specifically, your sketchbook is meant to be your safe space as an artist, and I don't want to be really uncomfortable in my safe space, So anyways, let me give you a real quick quasi-life update, I guess. Hopefully this video is out. Well, it should be out October 1st or 2nd, and if it's not, that means either power or internet was out for at least a day or two. But I doubt that will actually happen. Because, well, I kind of skipped this part of the story. There's a hurricane currently headed towards me. The forecasts for stuff like this are always constantly changing. So half an hour ago, it was forecasted to skim by me. Yesterday it was supposed to land on top of me. We won't know for sure until it's much closer. But it's currently looking like it'll be a category 4 by the time it hits me, which is pretty bad. So who knows, maybe we really will lose power. I know some places a bit further south of me are already evacuating and stuff, so who knows, it could be bad. But the reason I'm somewhat confident that it will downgrade by the time it reaches us is because my family has this, well, I don't want to say that it's a curse, because in this specific case it is a good thing, but it's not a blessing either. Maybe a jinx? Jinx? That sounds good, because that's not inherently good or bad, so we'll go with jinx. So my family has been jinxed for as long as I can remember. We don't get bad storms, and I'm not talking the regular few inches of snow or the daily Florida summer storms. I'm talking sometimes the really simple storms will miss us, but I'm talking generally speaking the crazy storms. There have been a few exceptions, but historically speaking, bad storms like this, or bad snowstorms back in Virginia, they would be forecasted to hit our area so hard for days, and then at the last second they'll veer around us. like literally split around our house. We've been able to see the split in like clouds in the sky above our house a few times, or like there will be a literal hole. This is not a joke or an exaggeration. Like this has honest to God happened multiple times. There will be a hole in the storm cell, like thunderstorm, snowstorm, whatever, a hole right over our area. Like sometimes it'll be like our neighborhood and sometimes it'll be like our county or whatever, but like just at where we are. We'll be driving home and like we'll be in a really bad storm and we'll be like, wow, thank God we needed the rain. And we'll like drive up to our house and like it'll be the end of the storm. Like going into our neighborhood, the rain will stop. We don't, like a lot of storms miss us and we don't get really crazy bad weather. Back when I was a kid and I wanted snowstorms, I wanted snow days, it sucked. Now that I don't want to be flooded out of our house, it's great. It's a good thing. But we'll see. There have definitely been storms that make it past the jinx before, so this one might too. But my family is all set up. We've got water, we've got candles, we've got gas and a grill. We're good to go without power and whatever for a few days. We should be perfectly safe. We're prepared. We're doing good. Besides that, I'm starting to get ready for Halloween. I just decorated the inside of the house, and after the hurricane, I'll do the outside. I am very, very excited about it. Last year, a lot of the houses in our neighborhood went all out, and it was so fun. Halloween is my favorite holiday, but I used to live in a very like dead area with no kids, like no one decorated, and certainly no one went all out. So I pretty much lost it in excitement last year to see people like deck out their entire garages and make mini haunted houses and stuff. So I'm very excited. It seems like every year that I've lived here, like people go more and more extravagant, and I'm into it. I've got plans. I'm excited. Okay, there we go. That's the video. That's the portrait. I really do like how it turned out. Some of the features are a little wonky, but you know what? It works. It's still me. I love the colors. I love the mixed media, and I hope you like it too. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. You know the whole deal. Thanks for being here. You guys rock. Go look at the sky. Pet your dog or other pet or someone else's pet and go do some art.